Tonight, NXT gives us a tournament that we already know the winner of, and SmackDown for the second week in a row promises us the match of Ziggler and Bryan versus Barrett and Sheamus. Let's see how this goes.
There's gonna be a fight tonight!
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is the fights on Wednesday night, as usual, or as will be usual as I go on with these. We're going to start with SmackDown. SmackDown did a really cool thing. They did the live SmackDown, NXT. NXT did a really cool thing this week. 2 weeks ago, we saw the live SmackDown from the Arnold Classic. That was 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. This week was live from Axxess. The problem is that Axxess happened before WrestleMania, and this whole episode here was talking about who was going to win the tournament to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, unless you're living under a rock, even if you didn't see WrestleMania, you know the winner of this tournament was Hideo Itami. So the only even remote time you can suspend your disbelief is the matches that don't have Hideo Itami in them. And there's only one of those. So, cool to see them there. Cool to see them in the crowd at the fan access, because it's not the same as a stadium or an arena or even the Full Sail facility where everybody's in their seats. Everybody's just kind of standing around. At Axxess, they come over to the show, they go over to do other things. A standing crowd is different. I can't put my finger on it. There's no real they are different because they did this, but it's a different sort of vibe. It's a vibe where the crowd breathes, and I hope that makes sense. Again, taking them out of the Full Sail environment gets them out of that, impact zone feel, like same shit every week type feel, which is one of the only things that I can say against NXT, because there's not very many Why are you beeping? I'm trying to do a video, why are you beeping? There's not very many things you can say bad about NXT, but one of them is that they have that old impact zone feeling of, being the same place every week, more often than not in front of the same crowds. They know what to expect, and they're there, and they're happy to be there, and all that sort of thing. But it's cool to see them in different surroundings and how they fare. Especially, it would be a really unique and interesting perspective because they're not the main thing happening in that building. They are at Axxess, where there's lots and lots of other things going around. So, so they really have to do what they need to do to get focus and to get people on their side of the room, so to speak. So it was really cool. So we started off with a bunch of highlights from Axxess, a bunch of other things, a bunch of superstars like Triple H, like Shawn Michaels, etc., talking about how great NXT is, how NXT is really flourishing as a brand, and this is going to help out all those people out there that say that NXT isn't WWE, even though it is. You saw sort of a behind-the-scenes sort of motivational speech type thing that Triple H did with the NXT guys. Now that they're on the road, he's proud of them, go have a good time, whatever. Really, really classy by Triple H. And then we see the brackets for this tournament, and there's 8 guys in this tournament, and I'm thinking you're not going to get, 7 matches into a 1-hour show when, NXT isn't even an hour, it's more like 52 minutes. So what they do is they show highlights from Axxess. We show the highlights of the first round, where Balor defeated Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze defeated Bull Dempsey, Hideo Itami defeated Jason Jordan, who is not relevant, and Neville defeated Kalisto. I'll get into my thoughts on that in a second. Neville versus Itami is our first match on the show. Interesting to note that when you're watching this, only a couple times do you see the commentators in the crowd. The commentators, much like old WCW Nitro, are facing away from the ring. Now, I've heard it said a million times before, when you're on commentary, you have to pay attention to what's on the monitor because you're talking to the people at home watching on TV, because on the monitor is what the crowd at home will see, and you're not supposed to look in the ring because you could see something that the crowd or the crowd at home doesn't see. Now, I understand that, and this will force their commentators to do that, and it's a skill that they need to develop, and it's all fine and wonderful. But if you look into the commentary booth from the ring, if you're watching at home and you're watching the action in the ring, and behind the ring you see the commentary booth and their backs are to you, it looks odd. I understand the dynamics of it, the logistics of it, and why it is that way, but aesthetically it doesn't look right. We're so used to having the commentary team, even though they are responding to their monitors, being as if they're one of the show. Does that make sense? There's a lot of intangible, like, I know I say that a lot, you know, does that make sense? And I look into my camera like one of you is actually going to answer me. Maybe you'll answer me down in the box below. But with NXT, there's a lot of intangibles. There's a lot of things that are just good because they just are. And if I try to explain myself, I run out of words. So that's why I just kind of pause. I just kind of ask you guys if it makes sense to you, because if it makes sense to you, and then you can tell me if you agree or disagree. If I don't make any sense, then you can't tell me if you agree or disagree. You're going to be more like Spaz, what the fuck are you on about? First match is Hideo Itami versus Adrian Neville. Call air control, as the old cliche goes. Test of strength to start. They exchange kicks. Lots and lots of nice chain wrestling. Both men work on the other's arm. It's nice. Working on the arm is the story for this entire show. Just let me put that out there. Itami hits knees to the shoulder. Once Neville is down, he's dropping the knees on the shoulder, the same way Triple H would drop the knees on the forehead. It's that type of thing. Headlock and a snapmare by Neville, shoulder by Neville, a takedown and kicks by Itami. Collar and elbow tie-up in the middle of the match. When the match stops, and they sort of start again from scratch with something like a test of strength or a collar and elbow tie-up, it's a really cool chance for the crowd to breathe for a second. I like that. Knockdown and kicks by Itami. Itami gets clotheslined out of the ring. Collar and elbow tie-up. Kicks and strikes by Neville. Itami eats turnbuckle. Some not-so-silly kicks from Neville. Elbow by Neville. Elbow by Neville, and he steps on Itami's face. What I like about this, and this is really cool because there aren't really heels and faces in NXT. NXT is a developmental territory, so everybody's awesome all the time. Adrian Neville's a favorite, Hideo Itami's a favorite. Hideo Itami got more cheers. Neville played up the heel role in this match great. Got in the crowd's face a couple of times, stalled a couple of times, pulled off moves like this where he's sort of stepping on the face, where it's not exactly nice. Vertical suplex by Neville. Neville rides a headlock for a long time, because that's what he does. Beautiful, beautiful leg lariat by Itami. Running knee and a tornado... Yeah, I can't read my writing. It's a thing. Tornado hangman by Itami. Now, this happens a couple times in the show, so I'm going to explain what I mean by this right now. He gets him into the position in the corner, up on the, standing, and himself up on the turnbuckle like he's going to deliver a tornado DDT, like a standard off the second rope tornado DDT. Except instead of spinning around and dropping towards the mat, he spins around full, even more full rotation to the rope and brings himself over the rope and brings the guy's head over with him. It's a really, really neat little takeoff of the tornado DDT, and it looks impressive. It's great. Top rope clothesline by Itami, sleeper by Itami that turns into a dragon sleeper. They talk about the gentleman who just went into the Hall of Fame, whose name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try, out of respect, but they do make reference to him when Itami turns the standard sleeper into the dragon sleeper. It's really, really nice. Fisherman suplex by Itami, super kick by Neville, red arrow misses, hesitation drop kick hits the mark by Itami, running knee, and Itami gets the win. Sorry, not a running knee, a running shotgun kick gets the win for Itami, which we know because we know he wins this tournament. The other semifinal is Breeze versus Balor. They do go back and forth between the matches and break them up with some more highlights from NXT, highlights from Axxess, highlights from, news clippings about WrestleMania. It's all WrestleMania preamble, and after WrestleMania it just kind of seems pointless, which is why I haven't made note of it and why I'm not going to talk about it that much, because it feels like this show should have been the NXT before WrestleMania, to be quite honest with you, but that's why I'm leaving a lot of the in-between stuff out and getting to these great matches, because they are great. Balor versus Breeze. Tyler stalls a lot in the corner to start. Arm drag by Tyler. Tyler rides a headlock for a long time and finish it off with a kick in the face. A drop kick by Balor, chops by Balor in the corner. Tyler is in the ropes and Balor boots him in the gut. Mudhole stomping by Tyler and complete with a choke in the corner. A snapmare and a leg drop by Tyler. Tyler rides a headlock. Basement drop kick by Balor. Multiple clotheslines by Balor knock Tyler Breeze off the turnbuckle. Dragon sleeper by Balor, which again we talk about Hall of Fame and stuff like that. Boots and a splash by Tyler Breeze. Sling blade by Finn Balor. The running dropkick and the coup de grace get the win for Balor. Great match. Going through the tournaments, as they're building Balor on NXT as a guy that does well in tournaments. He was in the #1 Contenders tournament. He was in this tournament. Tyler Breeze is already over like Rover, so I don't think in a situation like this where tournaments are becoming Finn Balor's thing, I don't think it hurt Tyler Breeze to lose this match at all. I think Tyler Breeze is still great. Tyler Breeze could be on Raw right now. It wouldn't hurt my feelings a bit. More highlights, more stuff. more WrestleMania hype, even though we're not in WrestleMania anymore. Our main event is Finn Balor versus Hideo Itami, and I really wish I didn't know who was going to win this. That's what I'm going to say. This is the sad thing about this entire show. This show is deflated for me, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. It's deflated for me because I know what the end result is. I know what the main event is going to be already. I don't know who's going to win the main event already. That's not to say that NXT isn't fantastic, that them going on the road isn't fantastic, that all these matches aren't fantastic, but it's WWE gave us a spoiler, you know what I mean? And the spoiler came in the form of WrestleMania, so you can't really say much about that. But I would be more into this match if I didn't know who was going to win. They trade arm locks like crazy to start. They roll and roll and roll over each other, countering the arm locks. It's a nice, neat little spot. Hideo Itami gets the better of it and works the arm for a while. Arm drag by Balor, who works on the hand. You know, separating the fingers, bending the fingers back, bending the hand back, working the wrist. It's all fine. It's all wonderful. Armbar by Balor, dropkick by Balor gets him a near fall, which is odd. Kitchen sink by Itami. I love the kitchen sink because you can do all this beautiful stuff, these flips, these suplexes, this nice chain wrestling, and then one knee to the gut. Just to punctuate it, it's great. Itami rides a headlock, sunset flip by Itami, and it gets countered into a dropkick by Balor. Balor kicks Itami off the turnbuckle, but Itami responds with a clothesline, a running knee, tornado hangman, a running knee, a tornado hangman, and a top rope clothesline, all by Itami, all look fantastic, all leave Finn Balor absolutely friggin' winded and ragdolled, which is great. They trade kicks, they trade punches, the hesitation drop kick by Itami, the sling blade by Balor, the running drop kick by Balor, the shotgun kick by Itami, and Itami wins. Itami goes on to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, makes a good showing of himself, and gets eliminated in no short order, but that happened last Sunday. Again, I'm going to reiterate it for the third or fourth time in this video. Great show, great matches. Would have been made a hell of a lot better if I didn't know who was going to win. But again, great show. I would have liked to see some even a 2 or 3 minute Divas match in there just to break up the tournament storyline. But and I could have done with a lot less of the recap stuff because, like I say, 8 days out or 10 days out from WrestleMania, it's really not relevant anymore, is it? But great show, nonetheless. NXT is fantastic, and it's a thing. The one thing they did show is they sold out some arena near WrestleMania. They showed a really cool speech that Kevin Owens did about how, you know, NXT is a brand and we sold out this place and we are the driving force moving forward. And then obviously he goes on to say that we're the driving force because I'm the champion and all that. But everything leading up to when he turns the focus to himself is really just a speech about how proud he is of the brand that he's on. And that's cool. That was a nice, neat little touch. But we switch gears now. We switch over to SmackDown where Daniel Bryan opens the show. Of course. He brags about Mania. He brags about winning the IC title, which, fair enough, great match. He made a great showing of himself, and the last few minutes of him and Ziggler was great. Talks about making the Intercontinental Championship mean something again, taking a little bit of a page out of the Cena book, but that's good. We're bringing up both titles. It's fantastic. He gives Ziggler a lot of credit for the match that they had after WrestleMania. Then he talks about how Sheamus jumped him, and then he talks about how Barrett jumped him on SmackDown. It starts off really strong, building himself up, building the title up, giving credit to a former opponent, and then as the promo dwindles on, it sort of sounds like he's going into a bit of a poor me, you know, littlest underdog, scrappiest fighter, typical shite. Barrett comes out and brags about hitting him with the bullhammer last week on SmackDown and busting his head open, which is nice. Sheamus comes out, the two foreigners, as they will be referred to later on in the night for sure, stand side by side. Sheamus brags about the bro kick. He says, says it should have been a message to Daniel Bryan to not pick on people that are not your size. I team up with Barrett, and he and I see eye to eye because neither one of us are munchkins like you. It's time for underdogs like you to get a European arse kicking. So, of course, they're going to 2-on-1 beat down Daniel Bryan. But, of course, Bryan is saved by my man, Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler comes out and he says, you two are just out here talking tough. One of the lines of the night is that Sheamus looks like Jack Sparrow and Carrot Top had a baby that nobody liked. Which is fine. You two are tall because each one of you has each other's head up their own asses. Nice. We're not going to wait till later to fight. We're going to fight now. That's cool. That's fine. We're getting into the tag team match that we were supposed to get last week on SmackDown. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's interrupted by the Big Show, isn't it? And he basically comes out here and says, you guys are going to come out here and beat up all the midget underdogs. You know, you can't have all the you can't have all the fun. You can't, you know, beat down these Rugrats, you know, without without me joining in the fun, without me helping you guys shut up these little guys that are complaining a lot, whatever. I'm the greatest giant ever. I won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Means I'm even bigger than him. Roman Reigns comes out to counter that. Doesn't say a goddamn thing. All 6 men brawl. The faces chase off the heels, and there's the end of your segment. It's quick, it's easy, it's fine. Once again, the tag team match is thrown out. We're going to have a 6-man tag later on tonight, and people will complain now because the Big Show and Roman Reigns are involved. But, you know, that's the thing. Cesaro and Kid take on the New Day. Now, before I get to this match, I have to talk about a sign that I saw in the crowd. Somebody in the crowd has a sign that says, "Spell Naomi backwards." Now, I'm going to implore all of you, get a piece of paper, type it out on your keyboard, do whatever you want, spell Naomi backwards. I'm just saying. Big E cuts a promo about how we should like them because they're gonna clap and they're gonna smile and they're gonna do this and that. It's very odd, the booking of this, and I like it in a way because they're playing off this story that the New Day are good guys, but they're kind of losing it a bit because they're being good and they're getting booed for it, so why would we be good anymore? They're doing that story where Tyson Kidd and Cesaro are the heels, but they're 2 of the favorite guys in the company right now. So you've got some heels that get cheered, some faces that get booed. They have a great and interesting dynamic in this match. Kofi and Kidd start out. Kofi works on Kidd's arm. Must have been watching NXT. Kidd hits some elbows in the corner. They double team. The champs double team Kofi Kingston, and it's punctuated by uppercuts by Cesaro, kicks by Tyson Kidd, leg sweep by Kofi, and he tosses Kidd out of the ring. Big E throws Kofi at the champions. It's great. Picks up his own partner, hawks his own partner at their opponents. It's a nice little spot. Like I say, you might not like the New Day, but they work together well as a team. Commercial break. We come back from the commercial break to see Cesaro deadlift, gut-wrench suplex Big E Langston, which is fine. Follows it up by riding a headlock for a long time because he is technically still the heel in the scenario. Kidd chokes Big E on the ropes, which is nice. A slingshot stomp by Cesaro is really cool. Big E eats post shoulder first. Big E gets the big swing from Cesaro. It's stopped by the Tyson Kidd dropkick, like it always is. Uranagi by Big E is more impressive than you expect from him. Elbows to Kidd by Kofi, and a boom drop. Kidd tosses Kofi into a Cesaro uppercut. Then Kidd hits a fisherman swinging neck breaker on Kofi for the win. Champs win. They weren't, the titles, I want to say the champs retain, but the titles weren't on the line. It was a good match. There's a lot of storytelling, and the slow fading of the babyface element in the New Day is kind of cool. I would like to see Xavier Woods in action more. I wish they were rotating each other out more like they were doing at the beginning, but that's another story for another day. We replayed the entire story on Raw that led to Randy Orton becoming the #1 contender at Extreme Rules. If you didn't see Raw, go watch Raw. Axelmania comes out and talks about how 29 other people had to eliminate him from the Battle Royal. Demands a rematch with Neville. So we have Curtis Axel versus Neville. Starts off with the collar and elbows. I gotta say this. Neville's entrance is pretty fucking kick-ass. He has the pyro. He's got the whole smoke bit that he had in NXT. Yeah, he's got the cape and whatever, and it's fine. But, you know, everybody was saying, oh, they're going to make him Mighty Mouse. They're going to make him a cartoon character. And that really hasn't happened. So the entrance that he has is cool. It's close enough to his NXT entrance that the people that watch NXT can still appreciate it, and it's flashy enough that the mainstream or the common fan can get into it as well. Plus, he's exciting as hell in the ring, which we know. Collar and elbow tie up to start. Backflips, arm drags, and kicks by Neville. Neville eats post and gets a mudhole stomp by Curtis Axel. Backflips and a boot by Neville. Twisting suicide dive by Neville, and the Red Arrow gets the win. Curtis Axel is the jobber in this match, and this is, in the best way possible, this is a squash match. Like, let's be real. Alicia Fox and Natalya and Cameron argue in the back. I could try to make sense of it, but who really cares? Alicia Fox versus Natty with Cameron as the referee is fantastic. Natty brawls down Fox to start the match, and just, you know, almost Luthez press style, just, you know, mounted punches, etc. They trade slaps. A spinebuster and mounted punches by Natty, knocked down by Fox, who misses a splash of her own. Natty does that spot where she runs up the back, rebounds off the ropes and kicks her in the face, which is nice. Again, it's one of those I don't know what the the hell to call it, because it's an entire sequence that could be called one thing, it could not be called one thing, but it's punctuated by a kick in the face, which is always good. Alicia Fox gets a boot in the corner. A bridging Northern Light suplex by Alicia Fox is always nice. Fox rides a headlock, clothesline by Alicia. They trade elbow strikes for a while, and pretty much out of nowhere, Sharpshooter gets the win for Natty. Now, I go into this thinking that none of this was spectacular, but looking back at Naomi's match on Raw, I can say at least nobody fell on their ass in this match. Oh yes, Cameron being the referee who hadn't interfered at all in the match, DDTs both competitors. This is the setup for the Battle Royal we're going to have on Raw for the New Divas #1 contender. It tells a story. It tells enough of the story to get us to Raw. I got no problems with it whatsoever. And like I say, and I'll probably say this again on Raw and SmackDown going forward, as long as nobody falls on their ass, it's not as bad as a Naomi match. And like I say, spell Naomi backwards. Wyatt versus Rowan kind of came out of nowhere. They replayed the promo that Bray Wyatt did for Eric Rowan when he let Eric Rowan out of the Wyatt family, which I found a bit interesting because I figured they would tweak it and include some of his more recent stuff, but they just didn't. Wyatt comes out and cuts a promo about how when he found Eric Rowan, he was this lost kid that society had turned his back on, and society is cruel, and I showed him what it was like to be loved. But then I had to send him back out into the world to remind him how cruel the world is, and the world ruined him again, and now I have to fix him like a broken toy. Now, his last lesson is going to be that I'm going to destroy him tonight, and whoever he's cutting his anonymous promos to now, he directs the comments to them for 1 second, and says, if I can do this to somebody that I used to call a brother, what will I do to you? Now, speculation is that these nameless promos are now being aimed at, not Eric Rowan, that's who's in this match, Roman Reigns. And if that is the case, if we're going to get Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt at Extreme Rules or some pay-per-view after that, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. People don't seem to understand that I didn't want Roman Reigns to become champion. I just thought he deserved his shot because he won the Rumble. I wasn't sitting here waving the, cock-fist flag and saying that he had to be champion. I'm fully well and happy that Rollins is our champion, to be honest. The match starts off as you would predict, with a lot of pounding, a lot of tossing, a lot of two big men tossing each other around. Wyatt hits a turnbuckle, shoulder tackle by Rowan knocks Wyatt right out of the ring, which is surprising. Rowan hits a lot of headbutts in the corner. Rowan eats post, shoulder first. Wyatt tackles Roman from the apron to the rail. And here's the thing, Wyatt's in the ring, tackles Rowan, who's on the apron. Rowan flies from the apron to the rail, the way you would expect a cruiserweight to. Obviously, it's slower and it's a bit more awkward looking because he is a bigger dude, but it's still an impressive looking spot. Wyatt rides a headlock and turns it into a DDT. Wyatt hits tries the running senton, but Rowan gets his knees up. Clothesline by Rowan and a spin kick, which again is one of those things you don't expect from a guy his size. Clothesline by Wyatt on the outside, flying crossbody by Wyatt on the inside, does the spider walk, Sister Abigail, and Wyatt gets the win. There were a couple moments in this match where Rowan really looked strong, and the way he was looking, I wouldn't have minded him winning, other than the fact that the whole world would have gone nuts, shit on Rowan, shit on the WWE, and then claimed that Wyatt was buried again, and I don't want that. And I really don't want Wyatt to get buried, but it's one of those things where if you can't... I wouldn't have minded if Wyatt lost this match. I'm going to put that out there, because I'm a firm believer that Wyatt can rebound from pretty much anything. I'm also a full believer that you're not that over and you're not that great if you can't afford a loss. If a loss will ruin you, if a loss will destroy you, you're not that over. That's just a thing. That's absolutely nothing meant towards Bray Wyatt specifically, because Bray Wyatt is the king of rebound at this point. He lost to The Undertaker. Boo-hoo. He'll brush it off. Undertaker's gone. It's not like Undertaker's going to come back on Raw and rub it in his face or anything. He'll come back and he'll destroy somebody. He'll probably destroy Roman Reigns, and you can celebrate that. I really don't know. Segment that I really thought was going to go somewhere and really didn't. We have a very special movie edition of Miz TV where he's got the Miz... the Marine 4 Moving Target, I think is the name of the movie. The movie case is on the Titantron instead of the typical Miz logo, which is a nice, neat little touch. He introduces the movie trailer, which is great. It's him. It's Summer Rae. It's the 4th in a series. I'm going to get it when it comes out just because it's not that bad. Summer Rae comes out and says it's not your movie, it's ours, roddy rah. Miz comes out and he says, no, you're a supporting player. I'm the main star. I am nobody's co-star. I'm a philanthropist. I gave a diva a chance, and that's why you're on the cover of this movie. Which is wonderful. You are nothing. I made you a star just like I made Mizdow a star. And let's talk about Mizdow for a second. I don't blame Mizdow for his actions. I don't blame anybody. I blame the crowd. You convinced him that he's greater than he is. He needs to come out here right now and just say 2 words. He needs to shake my hand and say that he's sorry, and then everything can go back to the way it was. And you can work for me. And Roddy Raw. Mizdow comes out, and Miz is still talking. He's standing in the ring, and Miz is still talking. He shakes the Miz's hand, and Miz says, "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" And he says, "I'm sorry." And then he says it louder. And then he says, "I'm sorry, I didn't do this sooner," and beats down the Miz. Miz takes off up the rampway. The best part of this whole thing is, like, romantic movie style, grabs Summer Rae, dips her down, gives her a friggin' lip lock, and that's how we end the segment. If Summer Rae's new deal, if she's not going to be in the Divas Championship picture, if she's going to become the valet for Damien Sandow as he goes on and faces The Miz at pay-per-views and stuff like that, there's worse places you could be. Like, it's not the worst spot on the card to be associated with somebody that is as over as Sandow, Mizdow, whatever. I think it's kind of funny though that people are so quick to jump on, oh, well, they're not really doing anything with him. Oh, he's still got the Mizdow name. He's still coming out to the Mizdow music and the Mizdow entrance, and he's still doing the stunt double gimmick, where he's not the stunt double. He was busted down from stunt double to assistant. So anything he does in the stunt double realm now messes with the Miz. It throws him off his game. He's not supposed to be doing it anymore. And if he's disallowed from the Miz entirely, then going out there and mocking his stance and mocking his pose, mocking his arsenal in the ring, mocking his characteristics and all that is going to get in the Miz's head more. It's mind games. It's fuckery. And it's good. It tells a story without anybody having to actually tell the story. It's a good thing. It's like the only other thing I can think of, and I'm going to sound like a Roman Reigns apologist here, but, oh, Roman Reigns still has the Shield gear, and he's got the Shield music and all that. I go back to my old buddy Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy broke up as a team. Jeff Hardy, until, eventually he got his own music. But for the longest time, the Hardy Boys music became Jeff Hardy's music. Matt Hardy went off and got, what's the name of that song? The song Live for the Moment, when he was Matt Hardy V1 and he had the Matt Facts and all that bullshit. But the Hardy Boys music stayed with Jeff Hardy because he was the face and he was the popular one, etc., etc., etc. And his gear didn't change that much either. Roman Reigns has changed his gear more in the time that he's left the Shield than Jeff Hardy did in the time that he left the Hardy Boys. And they have changed his music. It is still the same tune, but they've revved it up, they've amped it up, they've changed the instrumentation of it somewhat. They've obviously changed his entrance video, which is not a big thing at all, and his gear has changed. Like, he literally looked like a SWAT team guy when he was in the Shield, and it has changed a little bit, but it's just one of those things. People harp on it. Well, it's too similar, they're just lazy, they just haven't done anything with it. Well, maybe they have done something with it. Maybe not doing something with it is what they're doing with it. Like the Mizdow thing, he's still mocking the Miz because his rivalry going forward is the Miz. I think people, no matter which way they go with things, people that want to complain are going to find a reason to complain, and I think they just might need to stop a little bit. Stop and smell the roses. You're finally getting the match you wanted. Boo-hoo, it wasn't at WrestleMania. Whatever. Sit back, shut up, enjoy the ride. I'm sorry, like that's really where I'm at with this. Speaking of sit down, shut up, and enjoy it, here is our main event. Barrett, Sheamus, and the Big Show versus Bryan Ziggler and Roman Reigns. Take off the Big Show, take off Roman Reigns. All the YWC would be jizz into this match, but now, suddenly, this match is horrible, right? Sheamus and Dolph start us off, collar and elbow tie-up, they slap each other around for a while. They punch each other for a while. They trade knees for a while. Big Show comes in with a hard shot to Ziggler's gut. Ziggler eats turnbuckle and a chop to the chest. Ziggler drop kicks Big Show in the knee and hits him with the world's biggest DDT, as the commentators say, which is an exaggeration because they've fought before, and I'm pretty sure he's hit him with a DDT before. Ziggler gets a splash, but Show swats him away. And somebody on commentary says it's like a fly swatter, which makes Ziggler look like shit, but whatever. Mudhole stomping by Bad News Barrett gets a near fall, which it shouldn't because it's just a mudhole stomp. Winds of change on Ziggler. Sheamus stomps Ziggler. Ziggler is your babyface in peril for quite a while. Sheamus comes in, stomps Ziggler, slapping Ziggler in the face. A double clothesline double clothesline spot by Bryan and Sheamus, and then we get, say it loud, say it proud, we get some Daniel Bryan silly kicks, but only once. He's then tossed out by Sheamus, he tosses Sheamus out of the ring, hits the suicide dive, gets up just in time to eat a boot by Barrett, which makes me smile big. Commercial break. Come back from commercial break, we get a running elbow drop by the Big Show on Daniel Bryan, which for a guy his size, I know it's not cool to give Big Show credit, but for a guy his size is pretty damn good. Bad News pounds on Bryan's back and finishes it off with a knee to the gut. Barrett rides a headlock for a long time. Show steps on Bryan's back and headbutts him. Show tackles Dolph off the apron, just for standing there, and Bryan uses that as a distraction to lock in the yes lock. Now, I'm not shitting on Daniel Bryan when I say this, because Daniel Bryan was fantastic in this match. No problem with his contributions in this match whatsoever. Even at this point, even the Daniel Bryan silly kicks are okay to me at this point because they're fun. I call them out because it's what I do. It's become a thing on this channel. But he's good in this match, except for one thing. We're supposed to believe that he gets Big Show by one arm and is able to pull him completely down into the yes-lock position. Not only into the yes-lock position, but because Big Show is so big, Daniel Bryan is maybe holding on by these two fingers. Big Show could have flexed and popped Daniel Bryan off with the kind of grip that he had on the yes-lock, but he sat there and he sold it because the script told him to, and we move on. Tornado DDT on Sheamus by Bryan, which is nice. Barrett and Roman brawl when they get their respective tags. It's a good little spot. Neither one of them has been in the match. Barrett's been in very minimally, and Roman, I don't think, unless I'm mistaken, has been in the match at all. So these two big guys coming together and having a couple seconds of brawling was a nice little spot. Superman punch to the Big Show, Superman punch to Barrett, goes for the pin. Sheamus breaks it up, but Ziggler comes in to take care of Sheamus with a nice super kick. Roman hits a spear on Bad News when Bad News tries for the bullhammer, and the faces get the win. This is all kinds of good. You've got all the potential players in the Intercontinental scene in one ring at one time. You got the Big Show who's just there as an obstacle, like, get over it. And you've got Roman Reigns in the mix, staying good, staying fresh, staying in everybody's mind for whatever he goes on to next. If it's Wyatt, great, it's Wyatt. Once again, we didn't get the tag team match that was advertised, but I think they're playing this up. I think it'll be one of those third time is the charm type things, and next week on SmackDown we will get straight up Bryan Ziggler versus Barrett and Sheamus, which is fine. Sheamus, as I said, the way he's been reintroduced, the new look, the new entrance, the new friggin' aggressive style that's already getting criticized on the dirt sheets, etc., is fucking fantastic. Neville's doing great on the main roster, which is great. The Divas, we had the B team out there tonight, but they did okay. Like I say, they didn't fall on their ass. Yeah, no Rollins, which is kind of odd. No real authority story, because the focus of the night was the story surrounding the Intercontinental Championship, which really doesn't have anything to do with the authority. So we had a pretty much authorityless SmackDown, which was fine. No Cena, because Cena's got the US title over on Raw, and it seems like Daniel Bryan's got the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown, which is a nice little dichotomy there. Lots of cool things. Like I say, NXT is great. Don't get me wrong or misquote me. NXT was great. Just me already knowing what was going to happen sort of deflated it for me. I hope it didn't deflate it for you, because the matches were great, and I genuinely do encourage you to go check out the NXT from WrestleMania Axxess, because the matches themselves are fan-fucking-tastic. Hideo Itami is doing a great job of teasing the GTS, isn't he? It's fucking fantastic. Balor continues to be somebody that I look forward to seeing on the main roster, along with Tyler Breeze, who I think should be there now. But we have Neville and we have the Lucha Dragons. Let's let them get themselves established before we bring anybody else up. I do agree, where most people don't, that we should hold off on the introduction of Charlotte and Sasha Banks, because yes, there was a big draw, there was a big push after WrestleMania to, basically shove all of NXT onto the main roster. My only thought on that is, if all of them come up at once, then none of them really get to stick out. You get the Nexus mentality all over again. Here's all 8 guys that were competing on NXT, so here they all are on the main roster now, and they all have to find a way to stick out and be the new guy in a time where 8 or 10 new guys are coming up at once. That won't work. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. Yes, I would love to see Sami Zayn on the main roster. Yes, I would like to see, as much as most people don't agree with me, I would like to see Baron Corbin on the main roster. I can't even, if somebody were to come up and ask me why, I can't even really say why, because he's not spectacular. He's not, like, top of the NXT roster or anything close to that. The people that call him the Undertaker of NXT are on meth or something, but I would like to see him on the main roster just because I think it'll be interesting. There's a lot of people. Bull Dempsey, obviously Kevin Owens when he's done with the NXT Championship. Samoa Joe, and those rumors are still running rampant. I really wish that they would make an exception with Joe and just bring him up to the main roster. I think it would be fantastic. I don't think he needs NXT. I mean, NXT is largely fed by ROH, and Joe's been in ROH and TNA for how long? A lot of good stuff. There's constant conversation about WWE trying to make SmackDown an equal show to Raw. There's a lot of reasons why that won't happen. It's taped, it's not live, there's spoilers, there's dirt sheets. Because there's spoilers and dirt sheets, they don't do a lot of really earth-shaking things on SmackDown. But I think it could. Like there's some solid wrestling going on SmackDown. It's a lot of rematches. I'll give you that. It's a lot of just filler matches. I mean, like Wyatt and Rowan tonight was a great match, but it kind of happened for no reason. The like I said, the Divas match was kind of thrown together. But all in all, a great 3 hours of wrestling for me. I'm lucky enough to be up here in Canada where SmackDown's on Wednesday, and I can watch these two shows right in a row. It was a little delayed for me tonight, which is why I'm recording at even more ridiculous o'clock in the morning than usual. So if I sound tired, if I sound like I'm droning on, if I sound like I'm not as excited as I should be, I really am. It's just that I'm tired. It's just that, you know, life is what it is and life happens. The response for this series has been great so far. I thank you for that. Please, as I've been saying for the past little while, put it down in the box below. Come up with your own hashtag, watched it all, stayed to the end, something like that. Let me know, because I know there's only a certain percentage of you guys that watch my whole videos, because I do ramble on quite a bit. So the ones that do, I want to be able to thank you guys. Also, as I've said, I'm going to put them down in the box below. Add your questions for the Q&A. Have your voice heard on the fan interactions and answers videos. The response for both of those continues to be fantastic. I can't thank you guys enough. This has been The Fights on Wednesday night. I'm your boy Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak.